And going a bit more off of the whole thing on sex being something really to toy to play with, ties then to food and relative to what we term eating disorders. Looking again at the same hormones, the same biological switches, physiological systems that are the foundations of the bonds between sexual partners. There are some ones that bond to children. Again, I know I've already said this. Just hold with me for a second. So if you make it normative to have people that have progeny, no, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. If you make it the normative to have people that are experimenting with the boundaries of such, what then happens when a significant portion of the populace that's doing this experimenting has progeny, and then to discover that this biological toying with sex then has effect on their capacity to bond and interact with, the most important component of humanity, the next generation. The same kind of thing that happens when a majority of people wrongly attribute any number of things as consisting of science. The fundamentals, the foundational ideas of science have not actually changed. It's just that the movement that's beginning to call other things science is simply attributing the label to something outside of the actual potent reality of science and scientific theory. It's as if you could call a sprig of garlic rose, and then that rose then taking upon, or this is going in reverse of what I meant to. Anyway, the sprig of garlic, just because you call it a rose, doesn't mean it is going to take on the attributes of what is also termed a rose, the flower with thorns and colorful petals. It's you've merely given it a name and to some degree diminished, in my view, the label. So I mean, if it's just a name or a position or a title, if that's really what marriage is, if it isn't much more than that, then I guess it would never really be seen of that much port fundamentally. But I mean, just as someone that would think that references to scientific method or science are just kind of rhetorical trump cards, it doesn't. Rather than realizing that science actually does have clout and logic and rational arguments and reality, and the conversations with the constructs are vital. I hope I'm getting the point across on these ties. I'm sorry if it's not coming out terribly fluidly, but my words even getting all screwed up. Wordage. So this thing comes down to the power of patterns. If you look at ancient Israel, what seems like seemingly stupid requirements, like what you can and can't eat, what animals you can and can't go near, what kind of clothes or cloth, fabrics, materials you can and can't mix, and when you can and can't engage in sexual activity. All these are so many boxes, or were they conduits? Today we're discovering more and more that our genome makeup is only a portion of the story of what makes us with our biology. The reason it's only a portion is because there's epigenetics, and I don't recall if I've gone over this in previous videos, but our epigenetics is what basically turns on and off portions of our genes, and it's tied to the decisions, not simply decisions we make in our life, but decisions that are made by our parents, by our grandparents, by our great-grandparents. And so whatever posterity we may have, we're essentially turning on and off genetics. We're biologically engineering future generations without knowing it. Now I would ask, if we literally are what we eat as far as the chemicals and the makeup, and then we are what we think, and if we're most fundamentally affected by the environment in which our thinking develops, and then if that is, formation of our thinking is what makes us who we are, then isn't a society, a culture that makes that grows it, that sets the patterns of what is and isn't possible, or what the possibilities are and are not, I just, I want the best of all things, and I don't think that we're ultimately limited as far as the distance we can go and what we can achieve as humanity. I really don't. I mean, you talk about, approaching omniscience and omnipotence, and I really think, I seek the blessings of the fathers, and I believe that we're literally children of a Father in heaven, of God. And so I hope you understand that I really do see these aspirations. The things that are driving you, the same things that are driving me. I believe they're ultimately good at their core. And I get scared, and this is a illustration made by one Miss Beck, a Sister Beck, Mrs. Beck, sorry. But she says, I think, she doesn't say this, this is my own rendition of this, but it's kind of like you have a bunch of football players, pep talk before a game in the locker room. They're getting hyped up, they're getting excited, and optimism is great and it's good, and they're excited, but they get up to run out to play the game, and somebody made the mistake of not ensuring that the door was open, so collectively as a group they charge into this door and fall down. It's not exactly an effective way to take the energy, and it just kind of dissipates after everybody does something as stupid and as painful as running headlong into a door that is inherently, not passable in its present state. And so I just want us to seek keys to go about in the right methods as far as progress goes, as far as advancement goes. But again, I hope I've not offended you at all in anything I've said. This thing has gone on so long. But thank you again, BigEvasive, for your well thought out, respectful, and your genuine correspondence. So take care, and look forward to hearing what you have to say in response to this.